So this is the iPhone 12 Pro Max. So hey guys, I just wanted to give you a really quick impression of the brand new Apple iPhone 12 Pro Max. Now today is the 13th of November, it's actually release day, and I ordered this phone online a week ago at midnight. Well, actually it was about 7 minutes past midnight because the Apple website actually didn't come online until then. So I ended up choosing the blue cover, and in hindsight I probably would have picked an orange or a red, but I was so tired at midnight that I just went with that. It goes pretty well with the Pacific blue, which you can see on that lens section there, but it would have been a bit more contrasty if I got a brighter color. I also got a wireless charger, which is going to make things a lot more convenient, and the whole buying experience was pretty seamless. I looked at the TNT website, which is a courier service that Apple uses here in Australia, and if you look at that, it says that it was being processed, and this morning when I woke up it said it was on board with driver. I was hoping that they would leave the package. I actually left a note on my front door with the consignment number and everything like that, hoping that they would leave it. I was actually only gone for about 10 minutes because I had to drop the kids off, and the phone didn't get left here. They left a card, and I ended up having to pick it up from the TNT depot, which wasn't a big deal because it's actually just a local news agency. So the iPhone 12 Pro Max comes in this really spiffy case, and you notice that it's really thin. The reason for that is because it does not come with a charging brick. It just comes with the phone, the little SIM card ejection tool, and a USB-C to light. The box looks pretty amazing actually, but as I said, if you don't have a charger, you're going to either have to use an old one or a wireless charger. Just remember, with the old iPhone chargers, it's not going to work because it's a USB-C connection and you need a USB-A. Now, I'm not going to do a full unboxing because every other YouTuber's already done that. What I want to talk to you more about in this video is, yes, it's an awesome phone. It's really, really good looking, but this is overkill for your typical user. Now, I'm not talking about the heavy users, the techies who use this phone like 20 hours a day. This phone is amazing because it's got everything you want in a smartphone, but again, for just a normal person who uses it, is it worth spending upwards of $2,300 on a cell phone? Sorry, I've just moved rooms, but I just want to talk about this iPhone 12 Pro Max and whether actually, if you're not really into phones, if you're not really into content creation, whether this phone's essential. After all, it is a almost $2,400 phone. If you spec it out, you get the iPhone 12 Pro Max with the 512 gigabytes of RAM. Do you really need that? If all you do is you're making phone calls, sending text messages, checking your email, occasionally taking a photo and surfing the web, do you need to have this level of tech in your hand? And the answer is undoubtedly no. This is a top-of-the-range phone. It's designed for people who either have too much money, they don't know what to do with it, and it's also designed for people who like making content, creating videos, taking photos. It's just way too much for just your average person. And if you look at some of the specs, I'm just going to go through. I mean, it's got the ceramic shield front, which is great because it minimizes the risk of you damaging your phone if you were to drop it. I always put a screen protector on my phone anyway because I think it just gives me that added security because you're just touching the glass continuously. 128, 256 and 512 gigabytes of RAM. Well, I got 512 because I do create content on this phone, and when you do video, especially if you're going to shoot in 4K, you'll find that the memory gets used up really quickly. So 512 gigabytes is ideal, but if you don't use photos, I don't think you need to spend that much money on 512 gigabytes. Do you need to have the 6.7 inch screen? I like it because of the size. It actually feels good in my hand because it's nice and hefty. A lot of people prefer the smaller phone because it actually fits in their pocket or their purse better. That's a little bit of a personal thing, but you are paying extra for the bigger screen real estate, and if you don't need that, you can save some money there. Water resistance, that's a bonus for any phone because if you use it and it's raining, or if you accidentally drop it in water or anything like that, it's going to protect your phone. The A14 Bionic chip, yes, it's faster, yes, the battery life is better, yes, everything runs smoother, but it really depends on what sort of apps you're going to run on this phone. It's not going to make any difference if all you do is check your email and do text messages and stuff like that. But if you're going to do stuff like video editing, or you're going to do graphic intensive things like play games, that's going to be important that you have a fast processor. Now I'm going to have to read from the Apple website for the next bit, but the iPhone 12 Pro Max, just like the 12, just like the 11, has 3 cameras. My iPhone XS does not, and with the iPhone 12 Pro Max you get 12 megapixel camera system, ultra wide, wide and telephoto cameras. The ultra wide has an f2.4 aperture and has a 120-degree field of view, so you're going to get a lot of background, and it's going to be ideal for landscapes and things like that. You've got a normal standard wide, which is an f1.6, so it's a very fast lens because it's got a wide aperture. And then you've got the f2.2 telephoto lens. Do you need all this stuff? Do you need the night modes portraits? Do you need the LiDAR scanner? Do you need the portrait mode with the advanced bokeh and depth control? Portrait lighting, all that kind of stuff? It really depends what you're going to do with it. Every photo is going to look better if you've got a better camera. If you've got image stabilization like the iPhone 12 Pro Max has, you've got the sensor shift optical image stabilization, so it stabilizes the sensor and you're going to get less camera shake, especially when you're shooting video. This is all going to improve the quality of the image. Can you really tell what are you going to do with the photos? Are you just going to look at them on your phone? You're going to look at them on your computer? You're going to print them out? And with the videos, what are you going to do with those? It all makes a difference as to how high a quality. Remember that every time you shoot at high resolution like 4K and stuff like that, it takes up a lot of memory, so you got to be prepared to have a lot of storage. A lot of people use iCloud to sync their photos and videos, and that's going to take a lot of time. And if you don't have a decent download limit, it's going to be problematic if you're trying to sync your photos and videos. Stuff like Apple Pro RAW, if you're never going to shoot in RAW, if you don't even know what RAW is, that's obviously not going to be very useful for you. Do you need to shoot in 4K? My theory is you shoot at the highest resolution and you can always scale down, and you're always going to be able to get the best out of your video. You're going to be able to crop in a little bit, you're not going to lose a lot of detail, but just bear in mind most people don't have 4K TVs, most people don't watch even YouTube videos using 4K, so it's not 100% necessary unless you've got a very specific reason why you're shooting the video. Obviously, if you're making cinematic footage, you're going to need the 4K. Now, one of the things that I think is quite necessary, and it's actually been the first series of iPhones that's had it, is 5G connectivity. Now, I know that in a lot of places 5G coverage is a little bit patchy, including Sydney. Right now our suburb doesn't have 5G, but where I work does. You've just got to remember that it's an evolving technology. You're going to have this phone, I would assume, for at least 1 or 2 years, and if you're not someone who likes to be at the bleeding edge of technology, you're more than likely to have this phone for many years, and by that time 5G is going to be the norm. 5G is so much faster, so if you ever want to download video, if you ever want to stream, you're going to find that 5G is going to be the way to go. The one caveat obviously is you've got to have an adequate data plan on your phone. There's no point having 10 gigabytes a month and having 5G. You're not going to be able to stream anything because, well, you're going to be able to stream like 15 minutes a day without exceeding your limit. So that's kind of pointless. So if you're one of those people who buy prepaid plans and have very limited data and basically all you do literally is use your phone to make phone calls, then 4G, 5G doesn't make any difference to you. But if you're planning on using data, and some people don't realize what else uses data. FaceTime uses data, WhatsApp, if you're going to do video chats, Zoom, things like that all use data. And again, this hidden one where a lot of people fall into the trap of not realizing this is if you've got your phone set on sync with iCloud, your photos, everything like that syncs to iCloud is also going to use data. So if you're away from your home Wi-Fi network and you haven't got the right settings, you might be in a little bit of trouble. You may actually exceed your data plan. So in summary, this iPhone 12 Pro Max, I've only had it for an hour. I love it. It looks awesome. It's sleek. It feels good in the hand, but it's really, really expensive. If you're not someone who thinks that they're going to use the full capabilities of this phone either now or ever, it's probably reasonable to not purchase this phone because it is a lot of cash. $2,400 is nothing to sneeze at, and that's before you get other accessories. A screen protector is going to set you back $50. A case is going to set you back a bit. If you're going to get Apple Care warranty, that's going to set you back a bit. And all this stuff adds up, but you've got a $2,500 phone, and it's possible that you may only need a $300 phone. Don't be persuaded by all the hype. Don't be persuaded by all the other people who say this is the best. You may not need the best, and you may not want the best, and you may not be able to afford the best. This is not the great time in the world to be spending your entire life savings on something like a consumable phone. There's a pandemic going on. There's a lot of concern about job security. We don't know what's actually going to happen. So if you're down to your last $10,000, I certainly wouldn't be spending $3,000 of that on a new phone. So your mileage is going to vary. This phone I would highly recommend to people who love tech, who like the latest and greatest, who can afford it, and who like to make lots of quality content. Smartphones these days cost as much as either getting a tablet or an actual computer. In summary, I love this phone. I've always loved new technology, and I actually truly believe that I'm going to get pretty good use out of all the functionality of this phone. It's not just for show. I do a lot of social media, I take a lot of video, I do a lot of vlogging, and sometimes it's good to not have to bring another camera. One of the things that really attracted me to the iPhone 12 is the fact that now the front camera also shoots 4K video, and that's something that none of the old iPhones had. And it's something, I think ultimately it's the combination of that and 5G that sealed the deal for me in terms of getting the iPhone 12 Pro Max. I upgrade for 2 years. I don't upgrade them every year. And the 10 is starting to get a little bit long in the tooth. The battery life is not as great, and I just felt like this is just my year. If I had the 11, I probably wouldn't go for the 12, except for the fact that you need 5G. So if you're someone who needs 5G, that is a compelling reason to upgrade. But there's a lot of good things about the 11 and the 10 and the 8 and the 7 and they're all still very usable. You can still get a lot of functionality out of those phones. So that's the end of this video. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you got your iPhone 12 Pro Max, or if you're planning on getting it, hit me in the comments below. Let me know why you're getting it, and if you're not getting it, let me know why you've made the decision not getting it. As usual, if you like my videos, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time in another video, whilst I'm going to go off now and enjoy my new iPhone 12 Pro Max. See you later.